This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video. This week, the AFC North takes center stage as the Pittsburgh Steelers battle the Cincinnati Bengals. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's the Steelers and Bengals, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of the Short Shifts Fantasy Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Keeping Karlsson. I'm your host, Louis Ezekiel. Joining me tonight, my pal and yours, and two people who between them have scored as many goals at Madison Square Garden this season as the entire New York Rangers. Elizabeth, how are you doing this fine Tuesday evening?
Louis, I am so excited to be back. It's a great Tuesday evening. It's those Oilers that are currently keeping those Rangers quiet, so you know I'm having a great night.
Outstanding. Yes, and finally added a McDavid point in there on the empty net goal, so I'm feeling a little better about how things are going myself. And let's get into it here. You know, a little bit of a different setup with Canadian Thanksgiving yesterday. We just had the ginormous mega show. The purpose of Short Shifts, of course, is to fill you in with any information that comes around in between. And we felt like there was enough information since yesterday that we could go ahead and run through it. So, Elizabeth, we are going to cover some injuries and oucheries. We're going to cover some line changes, a couple hot streaks. But I want to start with this. If you are someone who has been listening to Keeping Karlsson for a while, you probably know that it really felt like this season in the Keeping Karlsson Ultimate Patron Fantasy League, that goalie value was really depressed. A lot of goalies were going a lot later than expected. I didn't pick until, I think, the 9th round, and I ended up with Sorokin. And, that seemed fine at that spot. But I was doing this thought experiment, and maybe you'll indulge me. I kind of feel like goalies weren't really depressed in value. It was just that kind of the collective mindset, at least in Cupful, was to kind of play this game of chicken waiting on goalies. And here's how I think I can make my case. So in theory, obviously Shesterkin is off to an outstanding start. Only one goal allowed today. I think that's 3 goals total through the first 4 games, playing absolutely lights out. He was drafted in the 5th round. A lot of times this time of the year, if someone starts out really hot and is performing even better than expected, we're usually saying, hey, look in the draft, go a couple rounds, and look at the kind of players that were being drafted and send out trade offers for that. So in theory, 5th round Shesterkin owners should consider shopping him for 3rd round picks like Ovechkin, Sanderson, Stützle, and definitely make a move for a 2nd rounder like Keller or Miller or Forsberg or Crosby. So here is what I posit. If you would not make the trade to trade Shesterkin for one of those guys, I think that goalie values weren't really depressed. I think this was a collective kind of game theory gambit that the drafters were taking because just about any 2nd rounder should be an upgrade over just about any 5th rounder. So if you're not making that deal, I feel like the reality is the goalie values are, maintained, and it's simply, that we sort of decided that we could all afford to wait. I'm interested in your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I had this problem while we were drafting, if I'm being honest, where I was like, how long are we waiting on goalies? Like, do we really believe they're all that bad? And usually I am team don't trust a goalie, but I actually have Crosby. So I thought about this when I saw you wanted to talk about this today. I was like, would I give up Crosby, my second round pick, for Shesterkin? And the only reason I said no to myself was because I drafted Hellebuck in the third. So I already feel like I have one really strong goalie. But if I didn't have that strong goalie, if I had waited longer, gotten somebody else later on, I think I'd be tempted to see about my second and third round picks and see if I could swap them for a goalie who you know is going to get good starts, who's got an okay shot at a shutout here or there. It is an interesting experiment. I don't know that a second or third round is quite where I would normally peg the trade at. I think it probably is still closer to that fourth or fifth, for me at least.
All right. Yeah, really interesting. Anyway, just thank you for indulging me. I just thought this was something that was kind of interesting when it comes to, considering strategy in drafts and, the effects of a large league where a lot of people are listening to some of the same content. You wonder how that affects the way people approach their strategy. Anyhow, we do have some real news for you here. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to head straight to Ottawa for some big injury and ouchery news. Brady Tkachuk, after suffering a cross-check from Roman Josi, was held out for the remainder of the game. It was not precautionary. There was real concern, and it comes out today that the expectation is that Tkachuk's hand-wrist injury recovery time will be a month or so, and surgery is being considered as an option. Elizabeth, we didn't get a whole lot in terms of practice lines yet. My kind of advice here with Batherson making his return is just prepare for chaos by watching game day tweets. The Sens were a group that a lot of people had targeted for this week because of a pretty favorable schedule, 3 games between Monday and Thursday. How concerned should they be about Tkachuk's injury, and do you have any advice about what we might be looking at lines-wise?
This is a tough one. I mean, you're not going to find a Tkachuk replacement on the wire. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Even this early in the season, you might find somebody who's hot, but it's going to be a hard replacement. I do have him in a league that is Cupful-esque. It's a little bit more of a bangers league. So I am going to be watching closely for these guys who we are talking about on our hot streaks later and seeing who I might be able to pick up. Today, I swapped him out for Mangiapane, who we'll be talking about in a little bit too. But it's just one of those things where you're going to have to watch and play the stream game to replace somebody like him. I doubt you're going to be able to get Batherson. When I checked this afternoon, he was 89% owned in Yahoo, so it's unlikely you're going to get him. And if we look down that Ottawa line, it's just not very exciting. You can definitely find somebody on another team that's more exciting. If you really like that schedule and you want to pick someone up for a few games, though, my gut is saying Pinto for a few games would be okay. His schedule works out. The streaming works out for you. I don't think he's going to be like the Holloway of last year where you grab him early and keep him all season, but he might be fun for a little while.
Yeah, and I think if you need to go a little bit further down, if it's a deeper league, you might consider Ridley Grieg also as an option. Pretty deep, but has had some success early in the season. And definitely just keep an eye on game day tweets, Elon and Shams, baby. That is the best place to go to get reliable information about the latest lines and injury news and everything related. So, it is always up in one of my tabs. Always good to watch. All right. So you mentioned Mangiapane. You are the resident Oilers expert. So why don't you take the lead here? Tell us about these Oilers line changes. We just saw the Oilers shut out the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, which apparently is about as commonplace an incident as you can have. But yeah, tell me what's the latest with the lines here and who should we be looking at as some potential early season ads?
Yeah, I don't think this is any surprise to anybody who knows the Oilers. We're playing McDavid winger roulette, if you will. We're going to try out a few different people and see what sticks. Tonight's lineup, we had McDavid, Draisaitl, Mangiapane as our top line. That bumped Frederick way down the lineup, but he did still score, so that's exciting. The second line has our new fresh face, hopefully hero of the team, Jack Roslovic. So he's lining up with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Matt Savoy, which is pretty exciting. But I do unfortunately expect this to keep changing. We still have Hyman's return to look forward to. Hopefully we see that McDavid-Draisaitl split again. if they stay on the same line together, it does kind of make the other lines look a little less appealing for me in a fantasy perspective, if I'm being honest. So hopefully we get to see them swap out. And like I said, I grabbed Mangiapane when I saw he was up there on that first line with Tkachuk out. I don't expect him to hold it. He's not on the power play, so it's a little less enticing if you need power play points. But hopefully he's going to produce at that 5-on-5 and kind of get us through the week here.
Yeah. You mentioned Roslovic. That's a guy that I have a soft spot for. But like you say, I think unless Draisaitl drops down to line 2, I'm not going to be especially interested until we see something like that. We've seen Mangiapane be fantasy relevant when he has been in the best possible situation. He's mostly been irrelevant when he hasn't. He does have 2 goals on the young season on just 2 shots, at least as of when I wrote these notes. So I still think I'd probably be down for the ride if he fits in your lineup. The Oilers play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday this week. But just in general, if it's a tough drop, I wouldn't be betting the farm on, whatever the latest player is to fill in this role that has pretty consistently failed to produce over time. So yeah, my advice would be, if you got a bottom level streamer that you're ready to move out, Mangiapane makes for an interesting ad this week, but I wouldn't get fixated on, making sure I hold on to the person in that slot. We've been down this road before. In fact, my notes say Andrew Mangiapane is the Ty Ratty of Trent Fredericks, and I know I could have gone back further to your Dylan Holloways, et cetera, et cetera. Let's jump over to Washington. We do have an injury for Pierre-Luc Dubois that breaks a streak of over 160 games since the 2022-23 playoffs. I believe 167 was the number. So a nice little streak there. Milano was elevated from having no power play role to power play 1, but is still skating line 3 with Lapierre and Ryan Leonard. He could be an interesting ad just because Washington has only 2 games remaining this week on Friday and Sunday, which are pretty light nights, so that could be a nice opportunity. But, again, line 3, some power play 1 time. It has not exactly been an offensive explosion out of Washington, except for a player that we're going to mention when we get to our hot streaks. Again, Friday, Sunday is nice to get a power play 1 person in Washington, obviously, is a decent route to take. But yeah, I would not probably be holding him past Sunday, especially if, PLD's day-to-day becomes a, back into the roster sooner rather than later.
Agreed. I mean, the schedule is what's interesting here the most. You're going to get that Friday, Sunday. Those are traditionally light days, and that can make it look fun and exciting. So just watch those practice lineups leading up to that Friday, and if you can squeeze them in, it's definitely an interesting ad. It's hard to find somebody who's getting that power play 1 time that you're not expecting it from.
All right, and then one more. We've got some good news for Buffalo, which is a team that has been in need of some good news. I know that Tage Thompson doesn't want me talking about this. He is focused on the goal of digging themselves out of the hole they find themselves in, and good for him. I appreciate him giving it back to the reporters a little bit. But tell us about the latest reinforcements in Buffalo and if this changes your outlook on their offensive success here.
This is exciting news for Buffalo. They're getting Zach Benson back. He's expected to be in the lineup tomorrow night, so that'll be Wednesday, depending when you're listening to this. He was seen working on that top line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch. I think this is exciting. He's also working on the top power play. Just those power plays are interesting, right? You've got Tage, you've got Alex Tuch on the second power play at the moment. So there is some interesting things happening there. They're definitely trying some things, but really good news for a team that is struggling with injuries very early on. And nice to see him practicing with those guys early before starting up. I'm not really sure what to make of this. I expect that he will do well here, given the issues that the team is having. They're going to be trying a lot of things. Kind of think of those Oilers line blending as well in this case, where they're going to try to find some chemistry that works. There was some other semi-good news about other players who are starting to practice as well. So definitely expecting some changes as we go through here.
Yeah, one thing I'll be watching for Benson, I have been watching some Buffalo games live because I was very excited to have Josh Norris, as I mentioned last episode. That was a stupid thing to say out loud, because like DeAndre Reynolds, he has bones like glass. But, the kind of the line on Benson was that he was a little too easy to push off the puck. So one thing I really want to see is, as he gets a bit older, has a little more experience, is he going to be able to make a little bit more space for himself and be able to win some of those battles? Because, we definitely need somebody to win some battles for Buffalo. They are in a bit of a bad way. All right, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some hot streaks. We're going to focus on the positive here. All hot streaks all the time. You're listening to Short Shifts.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins with DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite quarterbacks, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payouts. I'm looking at the games right now for Sunday the 19th coming up. Ooh, a big slate. Let's see a couple options here. I guess you can go with Jay Mason, the running back, Jordan Mason for Minnesota. 0.5 rush plus receiving touchdowns. So basically, is it going to get one or not? Maybe. I don't know. You've got to get one, right? Let's take a look at someone else. Maybe Travis Kelce. I know him. Is he going to be the first touchdown scorer? Yes or no? They have so many options here. He's probably going to, maybe not the first. That seems unlikely. I don't know. Anyways, here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5. Get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. In Connecticut, must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
If you're a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility and your machinery isn't working right, Grainger knows you need to understand what's wrong as soon as possible. So when a conveyor motor falters, Grainger offers diagnostic tools like calibration kits and multimeters to help you identify and fix the problem. With Grainger, you can be confident you have everything you need to keep your facility running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ever felt defeated by cravings? You're not alone. Henry Meds is here to help support your weight management journey.
Since I joined 4 months ago, I've lost 25 pounds and it has changed my life.
Henry Med's personalized compounded GLP-1 meds shipped to your door. Take back control with treatments designed to reduce appetite. Schedule a free online evaluation with a licensed provider at henrymeds.com/audio and get $100 off your first month. Results may vary. Not all patients are eligible. Compounded medications are not FDA approved. Consult a healthcare provider to determine if treatment is right for you.
Tailgates, game nights, big matchups, whatever the plan, Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink fits into your pregame routine. It's a probiotic drink designed to break down a toxic byproduct of alcohol responsible for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol supports your body's natural response so you can stay sharp for what's next, even after a night out. Just drink a pre-alcohol before drinking and wake up feeling great the next day, all season long. Head to zbiotics.com/pod15 and get 15% off your first order. Backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Welcome back to Short Shifts. So I wanted to explain, I guess, a little bit why we wanted to focus just on the hot streaks here. I think overall, and Elizabeth, you tell me if I'm off base with this, but I would say we are just a few games into the season. We are dealing with very small sample sizes. If a player that you were really excited about has been slow out the gate, try not to stress. Don't be, too hasty to make a move that you might regret later. You pick these players for a reason. You are good at this game, right? Let's affirm you a little bit. Give them some time. If this was the middle of the season and it was a 3-game pointless streak, you would say to yourself, well, this is a bummer, but I'm certainly not, going to jettison Valeri Nichushkin because, he has not had great deployment and is not doing a ton yet. Like, you got to give these guys some time. So that is why we wanted to focus on the hot starts, because that way, if you are cycling some players off the bottom of your roster, you might have a chance here early in the season to grab somebody who, might be a medium-term hold or even give you something throughout the rest of the season. Elizabeth, I'll let you take the first one here. Let's jump over to Tampa Bay. I got to admit, I said in my Allied chat with my whole chest that I thought this guy was not anything special, but he's had a nice start to the season. Tell us about Anthony Cirelli.
Yes. So I've always enjoyed Anthony Cirelli. I do like streaming him in occasionally. I've had him on some deeper league teams, so I might be a little bit biased on him, but I think he's looking really good. I don't want to get too excited because, like you said, this is the beginning of the season. We're only a few games in, and he does get hot and cold throughout the season, as most of these kind of middle ground players do. But looking at last year and his points per game, it's pretty much the same as this year so far. So maybe there's something to take from that, is seeing kind of that historical background. His shots on goal are okay, about 1.5 per game. I'd like to see those go up if he's going to continue doing what he's been doing, which is 3 points in 4 games. If you're in a league that counts hits, though, excitingly enough, his hitting is up already compared to his past few years. So that's exciting if you need some bangers cats as well. But it's a good start. I'd hold on to him for a while. He's second line playing with Gensel and Goncalves. I'm going to mispronounce that, sorry. And he's got second power play time, which is exciting. It's not as exciting as if he got bumped to that first, but for where he's at right now and his teammates, I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think that is a Portuguese pronunciation. It's going to be Gonçalves.
Thank you.
That's my best effort there. I apologize to any of our. I know Hoppelnuts is out there in the Azores, which I'm probably also not pronouncing properly. So he can give me some pronunciation tips in the Discord chat afterwards. Cupful, we are worldwide. I think that Hagel-Gensel flip has really benefited Cirelli. He's getting big, even strength minutes with Gensel and Gonçalves. Over 20 total minutes the last 2 full games. I did not have the numbers. This current game may end up going to overtime, so that might throw things off. He's got 2 goals and an assist in the last game and 2/3, although that was on 2 shots. I can check and see if there's anything else. Doesn't look like anything else has happened so far. That game is still 2-2 and headed to overtime. So you will know better than me in the morning. Look, it's still pretty decent deployment. If I had room for a guy who, is a pure center, you could do a lot worse than the guy getting to play with Gensel right now. Obviously, a goal scorer, and this is not the kind of third line Cirelli of the past. Like, he really is in an elevated spot compared to what we've seen from him before. So, yeah, I think this is pretty exciting. I am not going to rank this guy at the top of the fellows that we're going to look at in this section, but definitely one I would be taking a look at if the other was not available. That's really vague, but I like our last guy the most. Let's go over to McMann. You talked about Cirelli being an option for Bangers leagues. McMann is really doing it for you in a Bangers league as well. Again, I know that these are partial game stats, so I apologize, but 2 goals, 1 assist, 9 shots, and 13 hits through 3 games and 2 periods at the time we wrote this note. He's playing down on line 3 with Robertson and Domi, and the shooting is obviously unsustainably high in this very small sample size, around 22%. Again, small sample size, 2 for 9, but his historical average is about half that. 14 minutes a night and less than 30 seconds of power play time has me thinking that this production is more flash in the pan than it is likely hold. But I know that, the Maple Leafs are excited to get contributions from down the lineup, especially while Matthews is waking up a little bit, although he got, I believe, a goal against a goalie and an empty netter here this evening. So hopefully for my nervous Matthews owners, they're feeling a little bit better today. How do you feel about McMann compared to Cirelli and just sort of in general as a potential ad?
I'm not too high on McMann, if I'm being honest. He's doing great right now. That's what you want from somebody that you probably streamed in or drafted really late. I'm hoping most people didn't draft him too early, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that you can expect this to hold at all. He's normally under 0.5 points per game, like if you look historically at him, and I just don't see him going up to that point per game or even just slightly under where we'd kind of think based on what he's done in these last few games. I don't think it will hold, like I said, but if you want to keep him while he's hot, absolutely. I wouldn't be dropping him if you can fit him in your lineup, but for me, it would be a quick drop in the near future.
Yeah, I think, obviously, if you see something more positive, like a boost in ice time, maybe he gets elevated up a line as a reward for his efforts. I don't necessarily see that happening, but adding more time for a player who is giving you nice rate stats like hits, obviously, is a big benefit, especially in those bangers leagues. So I'd have a little more patience with him in those settings. In Cupful, where hits aren't worth a whole awful lot. Yeah, I think, after this week when he's playing against me, after I streamed him and dropped him last week, he'll probably go back to being a regular player, but might be really hot for the remainder of this week just to punish me for being too impatient with him. All right, and we got one more that we want to talk about. I already mentioned this is my number one guy from our list. Let's put some shine on Alexei Protas. 3 goals, 2 assists, 18 shots, and that's not counting the third period or overtime of tonight's game. He is also getting monster minutes, not quite as monstrous as Cirelli's, but 18 to 19 minutes a night and time on power play 2. Protas is shooting a high percentage. He's shooting 23% through the first few games, but he shot 21% last season on only 140 shots. But that kind of percentage is what, if it can be something that is consistent. Obviously, we have to grade this right now as an incomplete, but we got to keep an eye on Protas to possibly be that type of high percentage shooter who can really benefit you, even if you're looking at relatively few shot attempts, if he is, say, deferring to Ovechkin at times, if they're ever out there together, that sort of thing. With that kind of conversion rate, you really like that kind of player who, even when things are a little slow in terms of getting those shots on goal, he can still be very productive. I have Protas at Protas. I'm going for the Starcraft pronunciation here. I have him at the top of that list of Cirelli, McMann, it would be Protas at the top, Cirelli, then McMann as my order of preference. How about you?
I would completely agree with your order there. I also really like Protas, and I agree with you. I actually do think he's going to do really well this year. I think we can expect something similar to his production last year, which was just slightly under a point per game. So he is already kind of kicking that off pretty well, in my opinion. I do like his line mates. He's got the Connor McMichael. He's got Tom Wilson in there. He's getting the shot at that power play time. Not as much as you might want to see, but for where he's coming in and where we've all drafted him or picked him up, it's really exciting. I know there's a lot of concern about, can he do what he did last season? Was it unsustainable to carry it into this year? And I just want to say that I think that this is sustainable for him. I don't think this is a one and done. I think this is kind of like a Zach Hyman coming to the Oilers. He has an amazing season and we're like, oh, it has to drop off. It doesn't always have to drop off. He might drop off a little, but I still expect him to be at that just under a point per game when we end the season. And I'm super jealous of the people who have him because I checked in my leagues and he's not available.
Yeah, I think he's been picked up in an awful lot of places. I'm looking on Yahoo, and it looks like he is 74% rostered, and that jumped 6% just in the last day. A goal and 3 shots and a hit, and 18 minutes of ice time tonight in an overtime victory. I don't think is going to turn anybody away from that, but maybe someone that you might consider for a sell high if you are not as bullish on Protas maintaining those gaudy conversion numbers, but definitely an exciting player to own for sure. The Caps with some of these young reinforcements are looking a little deeper down the middle. They're not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but you could do worse than having Strome, McMichael, PLD when he's healthy, probably with PLD on that second line in case of health. I think that's a pretty nice setup if you can get your hands on him. If you are in one of those 20% of leagues where he is currently not owned, I would run out to grab him just as quick as you can, especially with the nice remaining schedule with that Friday-Sunday game for the Caps. And with that, Elizabeth, that brings us to the end of our show. This is a highly efficient short shifts for us, or for me anyway. I kind of drag along whoever comes on the show with me for usually a longer ride than usual. Kind of helps that we were just recapping a day's worth of news after the big mega show on Canadian Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's so fun to get back behind the mic with you. I am looking forward to an outstanding season. I think it's going to be you and me for the next little while our friend Ryan Downey, who is our other Tuesday host, is performing. You can ask him all about it in the Discord chat. I'm sure he'd love to tell you. He is as modest as he is bad at fantasy hockey.
And go see him if you're in Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, listeners, for joining us as well. If you enjoyed it, please consider joining the Keeping Karlsson Patreon group, keepingkarlsson.com/patron, where super supporters receive ad-free episodes, and everybody who joins can interact with Brian, Elon, the Short Shifts crew, and hundreds of other talented fantasy managers in our active Discord server. You can get on the wait list to take over a cupful team. We're always wanting to keep active managers, so when players want to drop out, we're looking to replace them just as quickly as possible. You can get some experience in the Keeping Karlsson Ultimate Patron Fantasy League. You can also check out GameDayTweets.com. I know I plugged them already in the show. It is all the best information from Twitter/X, including team-by-team information and searchable tweets by player name. Keep an eye on those Ottawa lines. I'm telling you, there might be something we don't expect coming tomorrow morning. And visit that site and all the great sites we use to research our episodes at Yahoo, Frozen Tools, and Natural Stat Trick. Our intro and outro music was created by Pat Roach. And until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.
Tailgates, game nights, big matchups, whatever the plan, Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink fits into your pregame routine. It's a probiotic drink designed to break down a toxic byproduct of alcohol responsible for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol supports your body's natural response so you can stay sharp for what's next, even after a night out. Just drink a pre-alcohol before drinking and wake up feeling great the next day, all season long. Head to zbiotics.com/pod15 and get 15% off your first order. Backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.